I wanna see bit.
I look like a bug.
No, you look like a superwoman.
It's straight. It's
A
looking
model,
at me.
Melanie Trump.
I don't want to be Melanie Trump. I don't want to be orange.
What you
Boy,
want?
that's right.
But orange is
Orange is a good color.
No, it is.
Yes, it is.
So you put orange on it first. He's like, here, it's Donald Trump.
Babe.
Donald Trump should be Donald.
Talaga para yun sa mga
Donald Duck.
stagnant one.
Remember the biggest daddy geography?
Stop it. I don't like that.
So it's a good experience kahapon na.
Oh, maganda yun.
Ano?
Cut naman.
Yung kahapon.
Yung typhoon?
Typhoon Lagoon.
Oh, grabe yung typhoon. Ay,
Mayroon pa doon dyan na mag-explore ka pa dyan.
Oo.
Crowded masyado yun.
Magaling ito ginawa nila in my house.
At mas dami-dami tao sa tubig.
Mayroong gamot
Yeah,
naman.
McDonald's.
Oh, may blizzard rito.
Yeah,
Beach Water Park.
Donald, they cook Donald the duck.
Mauna lagyan ng beach Blizzard Water Park o ng pangalawang beach na imong choose kung next time.
Pero yung typhoon naman ito mo no.
Typhoon lang, maganda yun.
Talagang typhoon.
Ano
Yung
bang,
blizzard talaga to.
anong blizzard yun?
Blizzard.
Layo-layo ito.
Mga malalayo nga, Pastor. Naalagaan
Kuha ng
talaga
picture
nila.
sa Disney's Animal Kingdom. Para
Ang target nito pala ay all over the world.
kaya kaya Disney World ay dami talaga.
You know, baby.
Wala rin.
Oh no, it's green water.
Maganda dito kasi malaki din ang space dito at saka flat. Hindi mountainous ba? Kaya ang pag-develop nila
Can you hold this?
is ano na lang.
Water pa pati yung kanilang
May
mga
water
rides.
pag yun. So, combination of everything na.
Kaya siguro medyo tumas taas ito kasi
9 a.m. pala ang close nito eh.
ng gabi.
Ang open. 9 to 9:30.
Manay. Ano na ba oras? 9. Tama.
Ito, magandang traverse lights oh. 8 seaters yung.
They have the neon.
Travelers, ano yun siya? Chevrolet?
Sigame.
New Jersey pa siya gikan, no?
Help me. Wait, this water's cold.
Good morning.
Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
My backpack is
I look weird.
Weird one.
Jumbo friends, my name is Emily and I'll be your safari guide this evening. Now we do have a couple important safety reminders for life here on the reserve. We do ask that you please remain seated at all times, keeping those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck. As this is a sunset safari, we do ask that you please refrain from the use of flash photography, video lighting, and flashlights of any kind. This is for the comfort and safety of the animals and those around you. On the right hand side, in the back right corner, it does look like there is an okapi hanging out. Now the okapi is a pretty reclusive animal, so they weren't known to Western civilization until about 1901. The locals always knew about them, but Westerners kind of assumed they were more like a unicorn, so more of like a imaginary animal. Now the okapi is the only living relative of the giraffe. It has to do with their prehensile or super flexible tongue. Their tongues are so long they can lick their own eyeballs. I know it's a little gross, but it's very helpful because it helps them grasp all those leaves and branches that they eat. They can kind of use it much like we use our hands. To the left-hand side, there's going to be two black rhinos kind of walking across each meadow. Yeah, they're pretty cool, right? Now the black rhinos are going to be the smaller of the two species at only about 3,000 pounds. This is in contrast to the white rhinos that are almost double at about 5,000. If you look up the ridge on that left-hand side, you will be able to spot the kudu. Now I can tell we're looking at the female greater kudu based on the lack of horns.
We are overflat, you know. And we're stuck.
Now this is the Safi River, and the Safi River is a great spot to cool off on a hot day. I wouldn't recommend swimming as it is home to some of the larger and more aquatic living animals on the reserve, like hippopotamus and crocodiles. To look for hippos and crocs, we do want to look into the water as they spend the vast majority of their day there. That's because the water helps them keep cool. To the left-hand side, we will get a pretty good glimpse at those Nile hippopotamus. Now, a group of hippos is known as a bloat, and bloats don't float. So the hippos are pretty dense because they're pretty muscular. So they'll actually walk along the bottom of the pool or riverbank that they call home. They prefer to do that because they can hold their breath for about 8 minutes. So it's not too hard. They'll sink down, walk for about those 8 minutes, and then come back up. In just a second here, we are going to cross a bridge, and on that left-hand side, you will be able to spot those Nile crocodiles. Now, those Nile crocodiles are just kind of hanging out at the moment, but don't let that fool you. If something of interest makes its way down to the watering hole, Nile crocodiles are really good predators, and they'll capture prey quite a bit larger than themselves, like a zebra. After a big meal like a zebra, we won't have any hungry crocodiles. We'll leave that to the hippos, and they can go about 2 weeks before they need to eat again. Now we're headed into the Savannah, and the Savannah is a semi-arid grassland. As a semi-arid grassland, which is a fancy way of saying half dry, we're going to see a huge change in the ecosystem. So there's going to be a lot less of the densely packed kind of lush vegetation we saw of Little Laturi, and instead there's going to be a lot more grass and shrubs. The trees are going to be further spread apart, and that's just partially due to the fact that there's not a lot of water. So there's a lot of competition for the water here in the Savannah because there's both a rainy season and a dry season.
That's a safari. Oh, Longhorn, Texas. Oh.
We're in Texas.
Now on this left-hand side there is a cave, and that cave is a favorite spot of quite a few different animals to hang out. And they like to use it as a den, so we'll have to see what we can find. Look at the top, guys.
Oh,
So that's a spotted hyena. And hyenas are actually a female-dominated society. That means that the females are larger than the males, and while they are led by both an alpha male and alpha female, the alpha male is going to be submissive to the female. Now hyenas are really good predators, especially the spotted hyenas. So they do the vast majority of their own hunting. That is in contrast to the striped hyenas that are a bit more scavengers.
that's a Texas Longhorn.
On the left and right hand sides of the truck, these are the Ankole cattle. Now, an Ankole cattle's horns do reach about 6 feet in length from tip to tip. They're actually hollow inside. They have kind of a honeycomb structure. And that honeycomb structure is full of blood vessels. By running blood through the vessels, the Ankole cattle can kind of do a little bit of temperature control because their blood is cooled off as it runs through the horns. Though Ankole cattle are sometimes referred to as the Watutsi cattle after the people who first domesticated them. So coming up, we're going to get to see two different animal species. So up on the hill, if you kind of follow this path to the right and then look just to the left there, those fawn-colored animals are the Springbok. Now the Springbok are named for their ability to spring or leap about 6 feet in the air from a seated position. With a running start, they'll jump about 14 feet forward, which is pretty crazy when you consider that that's longer than a down in football. There was one to the left and there's a whole group to the right, and these are the white-bearded wildebeest. Now the white-bearded wildebeest do get their name from the Afrikaans word for wild beast, wildebeest, and they are the most densely packed migratory animal on Earth. About 1.6 million wildebeest make their way across the savannah each year. Coming around the bend here to that right-hand side, we will see a glimpse at quite a few different giraffes. Now the giraffe kind of in the front there is likely one of the juvenile giraffes that was born here on the reserve. She looks a bit smaller than the others. A fully grown giraffe will stand at about 20 feet tall, and babies are born at about 5 to 6. Giraffes are cud chewers, meaning that they chew their food twice. They chew, swallow, regurgitate, and chew again.
They're blocking the way now.
Too soon. What? Did I say that?
Hello. All right. Did it?
There's another one that's gonna cross.
They lay again. Yeah, they're casing now.
You're blocking the road.
I'm hungry.
Nope.
Now, yeah, pretty much. Now, giraffes spend the vast majority of their day eating. They'll eat for about 16 hours each day, only sleeping for about 30. And they don't even do it all at once. They catch about 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, but it all adds up to about 30 overall. Yeah, so here on the reserve, as you all are quite well aware, we do give the right of way to the animals, which means that we do have to wait for them to kind of get their hooves off the road. Hopefully they'll do that in just a second, and we'll be good to go.
Bye-bye.
Come on, girl.
Someone just saw him. If you look to the left-hand side as I come around the bend, just to the left of the bush that's right here. Oh, and then look further back, guys. There's about 3 elephants. So we're just gonna go nice and slow. And you can see them as best you can. You can just make out the one elephant that's a little bit closer to the side here. So once I come around these waters, I do need everyone to stay seated, but if you look over your left shoulder, you'll likely be able to get one last glimpse of them. Now the one that's closest to us here is a male, and I can tell that based on the size. He's about, on average, elephants are about 10,000 pounds. To the left, these are the greater flamingo. Now the greater flamingo are the largest of all flamingo species, and they do get their light pink color from the brine shrimp that they eat. Now don't worry guys, if any animals are in the road, we do have brush guards basically under the truck that kind of pushes them off so they don't get hurt. And they're pretty good at flying away, they know the drill. So if you look over your left shoulder one last time, you can just see him, he's just to the right, just to the left of the green bush. Now, I know you all got delayed by a giraffe, but does anyone else know the prime candidate who slows down traffic around here? Yeah! And guess what? Animal on Earth, and they do run at speeds of about 60 miles per hour. Now, if y'all are fans of big cats, you're gonna be pretty happy that we're headed to the Kopi. Because Kopis like this one did inspire Pride Rock, and just like the film, it's a great spot to see some lions lying around. Now, lions are lions. Yeah, someone got it. Thanks. Lions are nocturnal, and they do sleep for about 16 hours a day. It's a pretty great gig. So that's a bontebok. He is a series of antelope, and a really fun fact about bonteboks is they kind of miss the memo, and unlike most other antelope species, they can't jump. Yeah, he is my favorite animal in the reserve, and if you look closely in the darker areas of his body, he has a purplish maroon hue to his coat. Now there's a little bit of Disney magic that separates the antelopes from the lions, so everything will be fine, I promise, but it's a pretty cool picture nonetheless. That is our male and female lion, and there's actually both of the lionesses.
What's that, carabao bull?
These are waterbuck, and the waterbuck, you can't smell them right now, which is very lucky, but they do have an oily sheen to their coat, and it's stinky. It helps deter predators, but it also allows other waterbuck in the area to identify them. Coming around the bend here, these are warthog burrows. Now warthogs are big fans of working smarter, not harder.